Hi, I'm Sonia Ward, and I wanted to talk to you more directly and personally about sarcoidosis and me. Um, it was my son. I was born March 13th, year 2000, and to be honest, if I reflect back during my pregnancy, I was experiencing a lot of joint pain. It began in my wrist, which led us to believe that it was carpal tunnel, and the doctors claimed that it was carpal tunnel. Made sense. I was on the computer a lot. But then, after it antagonized my wrist, it left them alone and decided to go to my elbows. And during that time, I'm like, wow, could I have arthritis? I'm so young. I'm like 34 years old, and could I possibly have arthritis? Because the pain was excruciating. So it left my elbows, and I was like, oh God, I'm so glad to be relieved of that. My wrists felt better, my elbows felt better. But then I got this hip pain that was just so annoying. It was weird, so I would shift my body weight from back and forth, from left to right, to try to find a comfort zone. I attribute it to the weight that I gained with the pregnancy. However, that wasn't the case. So at this point, my son was about, I want to say, a year, and I was, there was a changing, there was a restructuring in my department, and so I was working for Learning and Leadership Development at the time as an analyst, and there was a new vice president for whom I become responsible for acclimating. Our team worked on coaching our leaders, coaching top 500 executives, and developing successors for them. I took them for a tour around the company, which meant that the company I worked for at the time had 3 different buildings situated downtown in Newark, New Jersey, and I was so embarrassed because I was sweating bullets. I was completely out of breath trying to go up a half a flight of stairs, and it was so suddenly. I mean, one day I was fine, and then the next day I was having night sweats, pain in my body, and extreme shortness of breath. So I'm like, oh boy, I don't know, maybe I'm getting the flu, maybe it's this, maybe it's that. But then came the sudden cough. I would cough every morning like I had bronchitis, and during the day I'd be just fine. Wake up in the morning, gagging and gagging and gagging, and I hate to be graphic, but basically I would clear, and it would be like these little balls of something, like really solid little balls of something, of solidified mucus that kind of lodged itself while sleeping and settled, because the granulomas form in your lungs, and your lungs have like these like these branches through which air travels, and when these granulomas attach themselves to the branches, it makes it difficult for you to breathe normally, and that's where you get the shortness of breath. So oddly, I never considered sarcoidosis, but I had a friend who was married to a man who had sarcoidosis and wound up crippled because of the prednisone, the treatment that he'd taken, and the side effects and what it caused. A normal, healthy, strong, vibrant man walking as if he'd been handicapped all his life. It was just horrific to witness. Okay, again, I still never considered sarcoid. I just kept dealing with, what's wrong with me, and I'll get through it, I'll get better, I'll treat it, I'll figure something out. But then my sister's husband became sick. They were in Maryland, and she said it was sarcoidosis. And I remembered my friend's husband, and I said, oh my God, wow. That's pretty serious. So me being me, I'm always trying to help the next person. I began to study and do research and download information and read as much as I could. And I fell upon the symptoms. And my sister's husband had maybe 3 of the symptoms. But as I began to read, I'll never forget. I was there, reviewing the papers and turning pages. And my family was like, kind of like, what are you doing? And I'm like, not right now. I'm just really quiet and trying to figure out, how do I have to pray for my brother-in-law? How am I going to figure out how to help him? Because help is who I am. It's what I do. But as I read and noted the 4 symptoms he had, there were 15 symptoms on that sheet. I had every one of them. Not 1 or 2 of them, not 4. Every one of them. Every one. I had the blurred vision. I had the muscular pain. I had the joint pain. I had the shortness of breath. I had the fatigue. I had the cough. I had the scar tissue. Little granulomas that form up on your skin and go. You might see a little bump and think to yourself, oh, maybe that's acne. But these are different. They're tiny little bumps, and they're hard, and they don't produce anything. And just as they appear, they disappear. I had that, you know. I had the headaches. I had the nausea. I had it all. And so, again, I was given a tour, and I was out of breath, and I was sweating bullets. And I said, enough is enough. So I called my doctor, and I said to her, Naomi Grosjean, I said, I think I have sarcoidosis. And she was like, no way, you don't have sarcoidosis, no way. She says, you know, didn't I tell you to quit playing doctor and reading the internet and all that? But I'd done extensive research, and you have to remember, doctors simply practice medicine, you understand? And they too have to refer to the information they have on hand to be able to make a close enough prognosis, if not right on it, to be able to help their patients. And so I tell you, man, physician, heal yourself. I did the research, and I decided for myself, based on what I had witnessed, that I didn't want to take the prednisone. So I went to Dr. Kevin Holder, who began to help me. And he is a brilliant doctor. He's in South Orange, New Jersey. And he began to get my files and help me and work with me, and I began to improve. But then I found a place, the Wildwood Lifestyle Center in Chattanooga, Tennessee. I spent a month there, and I tell you, I'm so glad that I did it. Part of healing is accepting, getting the information that you need, awareness, sharing and exchanging, believing, having faith, being able to be tranquil and have peace through it. There are so many components that go into healing until it's not even funny. I went there, and they taught me nutrition, and they gave me recipes, and we had cooking classes. In addition to that, the doctors came and prayed with and for us early in the morning, and we were taught how to heal ourselves. And with sarcoidosis and other things, you absolutely can. You have the authority to, and you have the mind to do it. All you have to do is seek, and behold, God stands there, and He will answer, and He will respond to your quest, your prayers, your petitions. For me, I took licorice root, I took cat's claw, and burdock. Because with sarcoid, you have internal inflammation, and I have struggled with internal inflammation and multiple symptoms. For some, it goes into remission right away, but I've been struggling for years with it. I push beyond it, but sometimes it slows me down, and I've got to respect the fact that my body needs what it needs. I also wound up realizing that there are 2 ways to go: medicine, or you can take the naturopathic approach. And as for me, I stand with naturopath. However, if there comes a need where you need immediate care, don't defy yourself. Don't ever really do anything without collaborating with your doctor and finding out what's best for you. Life is precious, and you need to be careful with it. I will talk to you more about it. I understand your pain. I understand your suffering firsthand. For many, it affects their skin. It looks really burned and really bruised and everything. But, you know, in all things, getting your body into balance is what you really, really, really need to do. So just remember this, and I'll be glad to talk to you more about it. You can visit my website at www.sonyawardempowers.com. That's SONYAWARD empowers.com. Your nutrition is so important. Eat more raw food than you do anything else. Rest is important. If you rob yourself of rest, you're stealing your time. It's important that you pray and that you become temperate, you live and walk in peace with self and with all men, and that you alleviate and eliminate those things that oppose your peace. Your diet. And then there are the natural things that God gives us to heal. He gives us fruit and vegetables. He gives us water. He gives us air and sunlight. We need to, take advantage of those things. Let the sunlight into your house. Open your windows and allow His clean air to sweep through. There are so many things that you can do to support the healing process. Healing is yours. It belongs to you. You have a right to it. It's a matter of accepting, embracing, and purposing to stay on course. I'm Sonia Ward from Harmony Success Solutions. I am both a sarcoidosis survivor and advocate, and I know firsthand that healing is something that God desires for you and me. Why not do what you need to do to find out what you need to know so that you can take the appropriate steps towards healing, that which is best for you. I pray your strength. I believe that you are more than a conqueror, and there's no such thing as a mountain that's bigger than faith. Okay? So believe no matter where you are in your struggle. Believe God is with you. I am with you in prayer and in spirit. And you are a conqueror and more than that. Thank you.